So, like I said, there's the church. So it's got this wall all the way around the front and a garage door that goes into a carport, which I'll show you in a minute. So it's not actually a full garage, but it is a carport. So it's really secure and private, even though there's Agua Fria Street is right there, and that's the rail yard. And actually, that's Joseph's Culinary Pub too, right there. Another fantastic restaurant. And then you're in the rail yard right there. So really good location over here, but very private still, and it feels nice in the inside. These cool carved wooden doors that are like 9 feet tall, probably. So I'm gonna come in here, close this. It also has a lock on it, so you can lock it from the inside. And now you're got this cool little private front yard with some nice big trees. They're mostly elms. It's a little bit landscaped, but not a ton. And then around here is this nice covered parking for, you could squeeze 2 cars in here. You sure could. And then you've got a place to put all the trash cans too. They do have a little bit of rain catchment going on. There's some old D boxes. I'm not quite sure what that's going to. Oh, that's where the original meter used to be. So the electrical has been upgraded, because there's the new meter in the box panel right there too. So original windows. This house was built in 1940 is what it's telling me. So these are probably original single pane wood windows, which look to be in really good shape actually. And then they are alternating between screens on the outside and also like a storm window basically. So they are not insulated windows, but those storm windows will basically count as making insulated windows. And some of them are on right now and some of them have screens on them. So first of all, you've got this cute little front porch. You know, if you were out here, say, you could probably hear the mass going on. And the organs, for sure you're going to hear the church bells. I was in there once and it was quite an interesting experience. I went to a wedding, and it was a Mexican wedding, so it was all in Spanish. And I'm pretty good at understanding Spanish. I could catch like probably 60 to 75% of a conversation in Spanish, but I could not understand a word that guy said. I don't know what kind of Spanish he was speaking in, but it was nothing that I could get. So anyway, you do have a church right across the street, but that's part of this neighborhood. There's a gate right there. I'm going to show you the backyard, which is quite nice. It's really big, actually. It's a big lot. The house itself is really quite immaculately in good condition too. Now it is staged, by the way. Let's see, it's 2 bedrooms, 1 bath, 1,300 square feet, but it feels bigger than that to me. So you have forced air heat, but there's no air conditioning, no cooling. And I'm pretty sure, is this adobe? Could be adobe. It could be also be block. Sorry, I got my paper in the way there. It says frame and pentile. That's what it is. Okay, pentile. Ooh, okay. The one kind of a strike. I'm not a big fan of the pentile, but let's talk about that later. Here's this beautiful front door too, in red, with this kind of smoked glass. Man, that is cool. That is cool. So I'm gonna come in and close the door so we can get a feel for how quiet it is in the house. So first of all, just a lovely room with this really cool fireplace, which they've kind of re-engineered it to be a wood stove in there. We did the same thing in our Kiva fireplace because it was so drafty in the wintertime, and you just had to feed pounds and pounds and pounds of wood in order to get it to work. So this is a really clever workaround where you can basically have this sealed wood stove, And they probably relined the chimney too. It kind of looks like there's a whole new thing going up. That's what they did to mine. They relined the whole chimney going up, so it's safe too. So that's an upgrade there. Just check out those windows. The hardware alone is so cool. And every single window in the house has that. This one was actually open when I got here, so you can see this one has a screen on it. And there are, the storm windows are around. I've seen some. So, for example, this one has the storm window on it, okay? That's interesting. I'm sure I'm gonna try to open that and break it. So, just to give you a sense, this is a really good sized room. It's lovely. It's got this nice molding around all the outside of the doorways, stuff like that. This is a really cool pocket door. Let me show this one too. So back in the day, when you were having dinner, you could close that off. Okay, so this is one thing that's a little unusual is the in-floor duct work. There was one duct over there behind the couch, but otherwise these are in-floor ducts for the heat. You know, again, I would maybe swap out that furnace to have air conditioning too. That's like about a $12,000 job. So there's another duct right there. That's probably newer. I'm guessing when this house was built, it was only this one and the one in the hall that existed. But this whole house is on a crawl space / basement, which I'll show you that in a minute too. So it's easy to get down there and work that and kind of reestablish that. So really cool built-in here. These drawers, that's fun. And then that passes through to the kitchen, and I'm gonna go the other way though to get us there. This is actually another door here for closing off the hallway. Not quite sure why you would want to do that, but you could. That was the thing back in the 40s, I guess, was doorways. And then in this hall, there's a cool built-in right there. That's where the phone used to be. I see that a lot in stam houses where they have that little centrally located thing to place the phone on top of. And down the hall here, on the right is the bathroom, and to the left is, on the right is the first bedroom and then the second bedroom, and then on the left goes to the bathroom. But I'm gonna show us the kitchen first. And I'm pretty sure these are all original wood floors throughout the house. There's another duct that's been added, like post. So here's your kitchen. Now, they do not have, well, I guess it's just a lot of extra space back here that I'm not quite sure what you would do with it. It does have a nice little eat-in bar. Maybe you could put in a little 2-person table right here because you're looking out the back to the back of the backyard. It has a nice deck. These windows are actually new. So it's making me wonder if this was added on at some point because the floors do change, but they do look old still. So, interesting. Or maybe that was the portal and it just got finished off and closed. So the kitchen is pretty simple. You just have some nice upper cabinets, and that is a induction oven. If you wanted to switch to gas, you probably certainly could very easily because, like I said, it's easy to work down underneath the house. They did leave me some chocolate ice cream for later, which I really appreciate. So that's my favorite. That's a really cool old light fixture too. That's probably OG. And I'm not quite sure why there's this big patch, but maybe there was a leak. And I do need to check to see what the roof is like. I think it's metal roof. So this is your pantry / storage. That's one thing in a 1,300 square foot house. You're not gonna end up with a ton of storage, but don't forget, there's a basement. And there are lights in here, but I cannot figure out. Duh. Okay, so you lose a little bit on the right side because of that built-in cabinet in the dining room, and then they have these wine bottle rack, probably. And then over here, you've got some shelves too, and I wonder if that was a window at some point. Just another one of those things to make you go, But it's got a good flow to it. It's got a good feel to it. I'm really liking this house a lot. There's another one of your, these things might not even work anymore. I wonder if they're defunct. This looks so old. And there's another vent right in there. This is the first bedroom. Would probably be the guest bedroom. Pretty good sized closet. And you can see that's one of the backup storm windows, because on this one they've got a screen on it. Definitely the original door. Just look at that hardware on there. That is so cool. Really cool. And then nice. That's the word for that is failing me right now. Same thing with that. It's got like crown molding up there. Probably again original light fixture. Let's see what that looks like. Yeah, it's nice. And you know, one thing in these older houses, you're gonna have probably a shortage of outlets. So there's one right there, there's one right there. So there's only the 2 outlets in this bedroom. But like I said, if you needed to add anything, you could just run all the stuff from down below, down under. So here's your closet. This is your one closet for storage. It looks like there's maybe an old alarm system. Now that door actually goes nowhere. I think it's painted shut. So this would be probably the primary bedroom. It's a little bigger, plus it's got great light in here because it has windows on 2 sides. One's facing east, one's facing north. That's your closet. So there's no doors for the closet on that side, but they repurposed that because that door used to go somewhere else. So this is definitely not original. Okay, the flooring is different in here. But it's nice that you do get this extra closet space. Then it's this weird kind of wasted space back in there. But I think they redid the bathroom along the way because the bathroom's actually huge. And then you have this other closet. So there's 2 closets in there. That's pretty nice. And then here's the view back out to the front with our covered portal and parking area. And then the bathroom, we'll check out right now. It's quite lovely. It's big too, really big. So you have the clawfoot tub, which, I mean, there's nothing that's telling me that's not original to the house too. But you also have a separate shower that's just a step-up shower. That's cool. It's got old school tile on it. That may or may not be original, or maybe they tried to make it look 40s. And then you've got a full-size stackable washer and dryer. That's probably what they were working on, trying to redo this whole bathroom back here to get that laundry up here. And maybe this was the 3rd bedroom at one point, because this room seems big enough that it could have been a 3rd bedroom. But where would the bathroom have been? It might have just been that closet that we just saw. So this is cool. That's kind of antique-y. One sink, and then another window out the back. I mean, yeah, this could have been the bathroom. It would have been a very small bathroom, but back in those days, the bathrooms were very small, right? Huh. Interesting. But it works. Whoever did the work on this house, they did a really good job of like keeping it intact and historic without messing things up, but also bringing the upgrades in that kind of made it a little bit more modern and livable. Another cool door here. It does have a cat door on it, or a small dog. And then we'll come out to the deck. Everything looks to be in really good shape, mostly that I've seen. Like some little bit of woodwork could use a paint patch, not a big deal. Not a big deal. And that is a metal roof that I can tell. It seems like it is anyway. There's definitely some attic space up there too, because there's your access panel right there. Think about how high those ceilings are. There's some more room up in there. So this is the backyard. There's access to former access to the crawl space. And I'll show you how we get to the basement in a minute. So the property line is kind of funky. There's somebody's window there. The neighbor's window is looking into the backyard. And then there's a little stretch of coyote fence there. So there's hoses out here. I think these are like just drip lines. So somebody's been trying to take care of this landscaping. It could be like beefed up maybe a little bit. These are all lilacs along here. And then all these big trees are elms, which, you know, once they get this size, it's fine. You can just live with them, you know. They do probably need a little bit of a trim up. They look a little pretty healthy, actually. Except for there's a few dead branches that are going all the way over to the neighbors there. I really can't tell about the roof. I'm gonna have to do that on Google Earth. These are, what are these? Russian olives, I think. Probably a Russian olive. It's not the most desirable. And then just a lot of native grass. There's a couple of pro panels that are just randomly laying there. And then that crazy looking vent thing, which maybe that's radon. Huh. I'll try to tell down below. With all these decks, I would definitely put on rodent control out here, because that's prime territory for the skunks and the rats. Sorry to say. Okay. So, down in the basement. Yes, that was a window at one point when I was pointing that out in the pantry area. Can't really read what that says. So, let's venture on down. It's pretty clean down here, but it could use a little bit of attention. And I did notice they do have a drain, which is good, but there's some water intrusion right there, which is somewhat of a concern. And it looks like somebody was down here kind of trying to sweep the water. So that would be something we would want to get some more information on for sure. There's all the ductwork. The ductwork, that's all new for sure. And then there's a extra door. There's another extra door. There's extra screens. And that's, like I said, the former entrance to the crawl space. So this whole staircase was added somehow. And then there's the rest of the crawl space going back over this way. You know, it's just dirt, but it's insulated and you have access to it. So that's what I'm saying. You could do work down here, but it could use a little, I would clean it up a little bit myself. So that's a newer furnace, and that's the return. So they abandoned those in-floor jobbers, so those things could probably go. But then you'll have big holes in the floor that you would have to match, you know? Burglar alarm, do not unplug. Okay, so that's about it, honestly. It's a cool old Coke bottle there. This is very high up, so you might could get some more shelves and stuff like that, but that's where you could store things. It's decent storage. And again, some more rainwater catchment systems going on. They probably just have that draining out. So all in all, definitely a good possibility. I still like to see the roof, but all those gutters, it could be, now it's a Torchtown Bry. I can see that on the parapet right there, right where that satellite dish is. Yeah. So, but they do have some gutters. Maybe could use a little bit more, like this spot right here. Oh wait, that does have a gutter. It's just dropping down to that spot. And there you go. Perfect timing. Now, you can hear what it sounds like from inside. You could definitely hear it. But this window, for example, is open. I'm gonna close that. All in all, very cute house. I think it's priced pretty well too. $975, $747 a square foot. Well, that's a tad high. Anyway, I'm gonna wrap it up. Thanks for watching.